It's Tuesday, May 6th, and you're listening to the Passions Podcast episode overview. In the first half of today's show, Ethan, Gwen, and Teresa learn that Juanita has escaped from the Mexican authorities. Teresa, as we recall from yesterday's broadcast, was anticipating her own reunion with Ethan and the downfall of arch-nemesis Gwen. Gwen, however, is rather elated and relieved by the news, while Ethan reiterates that he despises Juanita and vows that anyone associated with her in the death of Teresa will pay. Meanwhile, Pretty still proves to be very much a liability and a force to be reckoned with. Flashbacks portray that she did indeed drug the coffee that Stanley consumed, as well as the air traffic control room co-worker who's now going to fall victim to Pretty Spawn as well. Continuing from yesterday's show, Pretty denotes that she refuses to share Luis, and since Fancy was too proud to step aside, she had to take whatever necessary precautions to stop the two from having a happy life together. While Pretty gloats over the soon-to-be demise of Luis and Fancy, the two lovers in question continue to celebrate their engagement and the first of many happy moments together. Julian continues to suffer from nightmares of his botched surgery. It appears as though his subconscious wants to blame Eve for his condition, even though Julian himself knows that she's not responsible. We get to see a lot of mishaps with him in the first half, ranging from him checking with his hand to make sure his penis is still attached, to him attempting to relieve his body of those bodily fluids which results in wetting himself. Across town, Vincent records Eve's drunken haze for his online video blog. In true Passions Hermaphrodite style, Vincent doesn't disappoint with the taunts about his father and his mother, brandishing them as the anti-parental figures with loose morals. Towards the end of the first half, we also learn, as per the preview on Monday's show, that Vincent is now in labor. The latter half of today's episode proves interesting. Vincent's delight over the birth of his baby frightens Eve, who learns that she is now set to deliver Vincent's child in the Russell home. Moments later, Julian arrives at the Russell home to find that Valerie/Vincent is giving birth to their baby. During the course of the birthing event and a series of word mishaps from Eve, Julian learns that Vincent, not Valerie, is the one in labor. He stares dumbfounded while Eve offers him a glass of hard liquor, to which he chugs the whole bottle. Luis and Fancy continue in coitus bliss while Stanley feels a wave of slumber overtake him. He struggles to stay awake by consuming more of the drugged coffee, while Pretty continues her gleeful satisfaction that she will have triumphed over Fancy. Stanley attempts to make an emergency landing, but to no avail. Pretty knocks Josh, the air traffic control worker, unconscious, leaving the plane in mid-air with no help on the way. Ethan insists that the person in the locked bathroom reveal themselves. Teresa frets, worrying about her family now that Juanita has escaped, while Gwen remains jubilant that Teresa is not here to witness her joyous victory. Gwen insists that the intruder expose themselves, or she'll be forced to take matters into her own hands. Towards the end of the broadcast, we get to see Gwen with her signature weapon, a wooden axe. The door is eventually unlocked due to Gwen's drastic measures, and the show fades out on Ethan and Gwen gasping at the bathroom intruder. On the next Passions, Juanita proclaims that the entire Lopez family will be killed by her hand. Luis and Fancy find an unconscious Stanley in the cockpit. Julian struggles to believe that Vincent is also Valerie. That's the wrap-up for today's episode. I'm Kat, and you've been listening to the Passions Podcast. Until next time, Godspeed and have a great afternoon.